As the Raiders have won the toss, they defer, and so Arizona will have the football. Trying week, as we told you, at the top. John Gruden, second stint with the Oakland Raiders, trying to turn things around. Certainly not where he expected to be at just 1-8 through their first 9 games of the season. And meantime, tough stretch for the rookie head coach on the opposite side of the field. There is Steve Wilks. Just 2 wins till this point. Both wins coming against the San Francisco 49ers, the 49-year-old Charlotte native. Arch, someone you know very well, coached against you when you were at the latter stage of your NFL career in Chicago.
Yeah, sure has. And look, being a rookie just doesn't apply to a player. It also applies to coaches as well. Certainly not the easiest start to the season for Steve Wilks.
Daniel Carlson, rookie kicker, boots it away. And TJ Logan watches it bounce through the end zone. So the Cardinals will have it from the 25. And here comes Josh Rosen, the young man whom the Cardinals traded up to take with the 10th overall pick. He's third among rookies in completions, passing yards, and touchdowns. A bit of a mixed bag till this point, but starting to show some signs.
Well, you always hear the term baptism by fire, and I think that's exactly what's happened with Josh Rosen. Just because of the offensive line and the issues that they've had up front, he's been under pressure more than any other quarterback in the National Football League.
Rosen will begin under center from the 25. And the take here to David Johnson. Breaks the initial tackle. Nice start for Arizona as he is close to that first down marker. It's a pickup of 9, tackled by Markel Lee. Offensive line has been dealing with injuries all season long. Good news, bad news today. DJ Humphries, their left tackle, is out with a knee, so the rookie Corey Cunningham is up. They do get Mike Upati back at left guard. But that is an offensive line unit that has had some major issues going back the last couple of years. How do they protect Josh Rosen, who was sacked 5 times in their loss last week in Kansas City? Second and short. Play action from Rosen. Eludes the sack, hit on the release. That pass is picked. Intercepted by Garyon Conley, the second-year kid out of Ohio State. And a big mistake early by Rosen. 28 on the return by Conley.
Boy, Paul Gunther, the defensive coordinator, is sure excited to see this. This defense has struggled to take the ball away this season, and that's just a misfire from Rosen. He was under intense pressure coming off of his left side, but that ball is nowhere near the vicinity of Larry Fitzgerald. And Garyon Conley, who has kind of been up and down, this is his second season in the NFL, more like his rookie season, and they are sure glad to see him make a huge play here on the first pass play of the game.
Second career interception for Conley, and already something to think about for Rosen. 9th interception thrown by the rookie this season. And so Derek Carr and the Raiders offense in business to start. And this is one of the areas that John Gruden lamented in our conversation with him yesterday. They've only had 3 drives start in their opponent's side of the field all season long. So this is the 4th. I mean, that's hard to believe here in the 11th week of the season.
Well, it comes down to takeaways. Before that interception, they only had 5 interceptions on the season and only 2 fumble recoveries. That's pretty astounding number when you think about it.
Every turnover subject to automatic review, so they will take a closer look at this upstairs here and in New York with Al Riveron. Stay with us.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down, Oakland at the 33-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 14:09.
So not only was the interception under review, that clearly looked to be a pick by Conley, but was he touched by Larry Fitzgerald as Conley got up, Arch, and returned to 28 yards?
Yeah, I think it's tough from that angle. And, you know, unless Fitzgerald's leg grazed against him, then I'm not quite sure he was touched, Spiro.
So the interception by Conley gives the football to the Raiders in excellent field position as they begin on Arizona's side of the field. Doug Martin on the take. A nice pickup of 9, tackled by Ben Wickery. So here is Derek Carr. It's been a tough stretch consecutive games without a touchdown pass for the first time in his career. Hasn't thrown one, in fact, in 3 of their last 4 games.
Well, he talked about it in our meeting that he had basically had to start over from scratch this season and relearn how to play the quarterback position under John Gruden.
Raiders on 2nd and short, go right back to Martin, the Oakland native, and that will be a Raiders first down. How about the starters for John Gruden and this offense? Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, but it is, of course, Gruden, the play caller. Colton Miller, whom they really like, their rookie, 15th overall pick, has started every game this season. He is bothered by a knee the last couple of weeks, but someone that Gruden and this staff are extremely high on. Obviously using that high pick to take him.
Well, they'll get a great chance to evaluate him because he'll be lined up against Chandler Jones right across from him.
Jones, the NFL sack leader last season with 17. And enters the day 7th with 8.5 sacks this season. Carr from the gun, little pump fake on first down. Wide open is his man, Jared Cook, for the Raiders touchdown. And Oakland making the early statement.
A beautiful double move. This is a slant and go on the outside. And watch this move. Jared Cook. And look at the bite right there by Jamar Taylor. And when this offense, when they have scored and they have been productive, it's usually been when Jared Cook has been able to find the ball downfield. Really nicely done by Carr and the Raiders.
So Oakland takes advantage of only their 8th defensive takeaway of the season. 23-yard touchdown pass. Derek Carr to Jared Cook. All made possible by the interception of the second-year stud, Garyon Conley. And it's Oakland in front.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Macy's. Dell and the XPS 13 with Dell Cinema. And by Ford. We build things we're proud of.
First touchdown for the Raiders in 24 offensive drives as they get on the board early in this one. 23-yard touchdown pass. Derek Carr to the tight end, Jared Cook. Off the interception by Garyon Conley. 7-0 Raiders in front. TJ Logan will return it, crosses the 20, and Logan's got some open grass in front of him. Run out of bounds right around the 35-yard line. Reggie Nelson forced him out of bounds. Nicely returned for 32 yards. First touchdown for them since week 8. And Brandon LaFell touchdown catch.
It's been a real sore spot. You go back to last week, and they really had some opportunities. The first one, their very first drive of the game. Remember that 4th and 1 where they went for it and they failed. A little jet reverse that was tackled for a loss, but that was something they knew coming into this game. They had to find a way to get that ball in the end zone when they got in scoring position.
And speaking of offensive struggles, it has been a long year for this crew. Arizona, as David Johnson off to a good start. He pays the price. Markel Lee with a hard hit. Well, new offensive coordinator, as Adam alluded to, Mike McCoy fired. Byron Leftwich, 3rd game since taking over the reins. And the one thing he wanted to do at the top of the list was get David Johnson more involved.
It was kind of head-scratching in the first part of the season. David Johnson was basically on a milk carton somewhere. He was absent from this offense. You've seen them try to get the ball more in his hands, a lot more screen passes. They line him up more as a wide receiver, using a lot of different ways to get different matchups and the ball in his hands.
Johnson again on 2nd down. Johnson a couple of years ago had that terrific season. 2016 rushed for over 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. He finished with over 2,100 yards from scrimmage. And then last year, the wrist injury in the opening game of the season just devastated this offense. And they have never quite been the same.
Well, so far in this game, in the 2 or 3 runs that they have called, they've really kind of done a nice job when he's got the ball in his hands. But this is 3rd and 1. And last week, they were really good on 3rd down. About 50% of their 3rd downs, they got first downs. Here on 3rd and 1, they need to keep this drive going.
So 3rd and short. Need the 46. Johnson finding some daylight, and he has it and more. Out close to the 50. Tackled on the play by Conley. As Johnson's good start continues, picks up 5. So now 4 carries, 23 yards for Johnson.
And a really good example of Johnson finding the hole. I thought a few runs last week, especially early in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, he missed the hole and missed the read. And that's one of the things that they're trying to do, is expand his vision. So far in this game, he's been able to hit the hole.
Johnson, a Pro Bowler in that spectacular 2016 season, first team All-Pro selection before the wrist injury ended his campaign last year. On 1st down, Johnson again taking on Raider tacklers, and Tahir Whitehead on the tackle. But when this kid is healthy and involved in the offense, there are very few better all-around backs in the league.
Well, he is, and especially in an offense that is struggling to find different playmakers. There's just nothing that he really can't do. He is great with the ball in his hand, but even more so when they start to expand the offense a little bit and put a little bit more on Josh Rosen's plate. That's when you start to get all the formations and all the different matchup things that a guy like David Johnson can do to a defense.
On 2nd and 6, they set up the play action from Rosen. He will throw it and completes. That's the tight end, Jermaine Gresham. Still going, keeping those legs churning. Appears to have enough for the 1st down as the official signal. 8 hard-fought yards as P.J. Hall, the rookie, was coming on the pressure of Rosen.
And I really thought that Rosen had this down the field. Christian Kirk, you see the linebackers, everybody go up on the play-action pass, and that is wide open right down the hash mark. If Rosen just held on it a little longer, he could have hit the Raiders defense for a big play, but he missed it.
So a decent looking drive here as they work inside Raiders territory. Fresh set of downs from the Oakland 40-yard line. Another run play called. This is Chase Edmonds, a 4th-round kid out of Fordham University in New York, a pickup of 9 yards. And they like this kid Edmonds. He's been overshadowed, of course. Anyone would be playing behind David Johnson, but a lot of spunk and a lot of potential in what his future could look like.
Yeah, he's a guy that they want to get more on the field and look for a couple packages where both he and Johnson are both on the field. We didn't get a chance to see it, but I think they're glad to get Mike Upati back in the lineup. He had an excellent block right there to get Edmonds upfield.
You know how to get the Fordham reference in there, didn't you? 2nd and short from the 32. This is Edmonds again taking on some tacklers, and that extra little burst should be enough to give Arizona the 1st down, and it is a pickup of a half dozen.
So far, you really have to like this running game, and I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, everybody we talked to from the Cardinals, including Larry Fitzgerald, said we've got to pound this ball. We cannot afford to turn this into a passing game. We've got to have balance, and we've got to be able to run right out this Oakland Raider defense. And so far, both running backs having success on the ground.
J.J. Nelson back onto the field for Arizona. Top of your picture. And goes in motion on 1st and 10. Fake handoff Rosen to Johnson, and goes to him on the check down pass. Penalty marker thrown as Johnson dumped down. Nicely played by the rookie linebacker Jason Kabinda. Penn State kid, undrafted, who has stepped into a more vital role the last couple of weeks for John Gruden, as well as Paul Gunther, their defensive coordinator.
Illegal use of hands. Defense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
I think there's one place for Rosen to improve on is don't bail on the play. I felt like Nelson had a step on the secondary, and he would have had a chance if he lays that ball out into the goal line to the end zone, that they had a chance at another big play. So in my opinion, twice on this drive, Rosen was too quick to take his eyes off the primary receiver and check the ball down.
Cardinals tight end John Phillips checks into the game. Lines up and now goes in motion behind Rosen. So 1st and 10 after the penalty from the 21. Here is Johnson again. Look at the size and the power of Johnson. Hard collision at the line of scrimmage, as it was Worley who was unable to bring him down initially Those are 3 hard-fought yards for Johnson.
But I tell you what, that's the kind of effort that this defense needs today. Coming into this game, they had the second most missed tackles in the NFL. And you saw in a couple earlier runs, they also had some problems tackling. But that time, 3 or 4 Oakland Raider defenders at the ball, and that's the effort that they're going to need the entire game when trying to get Johnson to the ground.
Johnson getting a breather here as Edmonds back onto the field. Rosen from the gun on 2nd and 7. Going end zone, has his man. It's Fitzgerald for the Arizona touchdown. Beautifully thrown by the rookie.
Well, what a beautiful ball. Beautiful touch, beautiful throw. And this is an example of the free safety in the middle of the field, Marcus Gilchrist. He doesn't read the trajectory of the ball. He breaks too flat, and Rosen puts it right up there for Larry Fitzgerald to come down with the touchdown grab. Really nicely done from the rookie quarterback.
221st consecutive game with a reception, and Fitzgerald hauls it in for the 18-yard touchdown. Point after is good. Rosen on the money on CBS. Larry Fitzgerald, the future first ballot Hall of Famer, career touchdown catch number 113, ties him with the great Lenny Moore for 14th on the NFL's all-time TD list. And that's something Josh Rosen will be talking about with his grandkids one day, playing early in his career with the future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely. Cherish that. But I like how he bounced back. I did think he missed some throws down the field, but after throwing an interception on his first passing play of the game, he responded and marched the team right down the field and hit Larry Fitzgerald for a score.
That's exactly what you want to see. Here's Dwayne Harris, crosses the 25 and out close to the 30-yard line. Derek Coleman on the tackle. Well, you can help people affected by the horrific California wildfires by visiting redcross.org or texting CA Wildfires to 90999. You can give $10 to American Red Cross California Wildfire Relief. We are thinking about all of those folks, not only, of course, in Northern California, but Southern California, as the death toll continues to rise. Still over 1,000 people missing. Just horrific events over the last few days. Our thoughts and prayers with all of those affected. Here's Carr back onto the field, throwing on the run. And that pass is incomplete, intended for Brandon LaFell, who is up into a more prominent role today. No Jordy Nelson, no Martavis Bryant. Adam, both going down last week.
A wide receiving core for Derek Carr coming into this game as he comes up to the line of scrimmage, running some tempo. Not a lot of experience or production collectively as a group.
And keep it on the ground here to Martin. Carr has 2 rookies today making their NFL debuts due to the injuries. Marcel Aitman, their 7th-round pick out of Oklahoma State, and Saeed Blacknall, undrafted, as they are awfully thin at that position. 3rd down coming up.
But he does have a nice rapport, especially in the last three games, with Brandon LaFell, who didn't really play much in the first 6 games of the season, but he has had a comfort, and it is a guy that he has looked to here as of late as he tries to pick up a first down on 3rd down.
Carr feels the pocket collapse, and he is sacked. And guess who? It's Chandler Jones.
Really well executed and a great effort from Chandler Jones running a game. Jones is going to come inside to draw the double team, and he's really trying to open things up for his defensive tackle, Corey Peters. But watch how Jones, he's able to stick with it. And he just comes right up the field, and just as Colt Miller comes off to pick up Peters coming around the corner, Jones comes in for his 9.5 sack of the season.
Jones, the NFL sack leader since 2016. He now has at least 1 sack in 30 of the 42 games he's played with the Arizona Cardinals. Just incredible. 48 yards in the punt by the rookie Johnny Townsend, and the Cardinals will have it all tied at 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walt Disney World Resort. And by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you.
Well, Jerry Rice, the only player that has gained more receiving yards in the history of the sport. Fitzgerald passing Terrell Owens last week, and he's averaged about 70 receiving yards for his career, has Fitzgerald. So at that rate, he would have to play about 99 more games to catch Rice. I asked him if there was any chance he'd play that number. He said no. May not be good news for Cardinals fans, but what a career it has been for Fitzgerald. Just keeps on churning out those yards. And speaking of this Arizona offense, we mentioned Byron Leftwich taking over third game since Mike McCoy was fired in the middle of October. And here's a guy who's only about 6 years removed from his playing career as a quarterback in this league. You rarely see guys play calling that quickly. It has been a meteoric rise for Leftwich.
And not a lot you can do when taking over in the middle of the season. You still want to have an off season and all the training camp to install your offense, but number one was, how do we get the ball in our best players' hands, and how do we simplify the offense so they can go out and play fast?
Rosen's pass just thrown into the dirt, so it will be third down. Leftwich retired after the 12-13 season, then retreated to his retirement home in D.C., said he was playing golf every day. Bruce Arians had been trying to get him into coaching for years, finally lured him to Arizona in the 2016 offseason as an intern. The original plan was just to kind of watch OTAs, see what he thought, and he knew very quickly that he wanted to coach. So he's only been doing this, Adam, since 2016, and here he is as a play caller. Obviously in a tough set of circumstances after McCoy was relieved of his duties.
And I think because he's so not very far removed, he has a really nice rapport and speaks the same language as his young quarterback.
Where does Rosen go here on third down? That pass is incomplete. Off the hands of the rookie Christian Kirk, their second-round pick, a kid who grew up not far from here in Scottsdale, and they will punt.
Really had an opportunity. There was a window for Kirk to kind of come down with his pass, but the ball just to his outside shoulder. Still believe that he should have caught that ball. And Christian Kirk has a really nice rapport with his quarterback, maybe the most consistent catcher out there, but he missed an opportunity to pick up a first down.
Andy Lee, one of the best in the business, three-time Pro Bowler, gets it off, and this is a beauty. Harris will play it just inside his own 10. Cardinals giving chase. What a play by Harris, coming about 50 yards as he returns, finally forced out by Coleman. We will be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. Well, John Gruden and the Raiders, just one win here in week number 11. Certainly not where Gruden expected to be after signing that $100 million contract, unprecedented for a head coach in the history of the sport. As their owner, Mark Davis, entrusting Gruden to turn their fortunes. Certainly going to take a little bit longer than Raiders fans would have liked to think before things started this season. All tied at 7 as they begin just outside the 20. That is the Oakland native, Doug Martin. And you had mentioned earlier Carr saying you're kind of starting from scratch. That was one of the first conversations that he had with Gruden. Gruden told him, look, I don't care what's happened before I got here. We're both starting from scratch. You're a rookie again. And it has been a lot of synergy between these two, even in the face of just one win.
Yeah, forget everything that you've ever learned, that you've ever been taught, and then as the season goes on, we're going to start taking away, some of your favorite targets and some of your favorite weapons. So how's that from starting from scratch?
On second and short, Martin unable to break the initial tackle. They lost their lead back, of course, Marshawn Lynch, the groin injury in week 6. Then they trade Amari Cooper 3 days after Mike McCoy was fired on October the 22nd. All the injuries that they've had up front. Tough to evaluate Derek Carr in this offense with so many key pieces missing.
It really is, but regardless, he's got to try and pick up this third and short. And as I mentioned earlier in the game, if they choose to go to the air with this, he is really like Brandon LaFell in this situation. Right now, Brandon LaFell is lined up at the number 2 spot, and he really likes to work the middle.
Jalen Richard onto the field as well. 3rd and 3. Carr putting some air under it, and it is incomplete. Off the hands of the tight end Cook, who had the big touchdown catch earlier. Carr put it right where it needed to be. Cook just dropped it.
I thought just for a moment, Benet Benwickery, the corner, number 23, was going to bait Derek Carr into throwing that pass into coverage. And Jared Cook is able to just attempt to catch that ball as he's falling in bounds, and a missed opportunity and a drop by Cook.
That's a thin Cardinals secondary. No Budda Baker, who's been their best defender in the secondary, out today with injury. No Rudy Ford, as they will return it here with Christian Kirk, and the rookie brought down right around the 35. We'll take a break. Back in 30 seconds after this from Walmart. And we welcome you back. State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. The roof is open here on a picture-perfect fall day in the desert. Temperatures in the low 70s. Early 23-yard touchdown throw by Derek Carr to Jared Cook, and then Josh Rosen leading the Cardinals down the field to tie the game at 7. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, rest of our CBS crew, our producer Seller Shy, Chris Fenson, our director in this week for Jim Cornell. Looks like some pre-snap movement on the left side of the line. Looked like Mike Upati.
Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Tonight on CBS, a little faith goes a long way. Don't miss a new episode of God Friended Me tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS. So Upati, the man penalized, returning after not playing last week, was out with a back injury. He's back, but they lose their left tackle today, DJ Humphreys, as he is down with a knee injury. So Corey Cunningham, another rookie, thrust into a starting role. It has been a mess up front with the injuries to the Cardinals offensive linemen. Maurice Hurst, speaking of rookies, on the tackle for Oakland, their 5th-round pick, but there's some key players down today, not to mention their starting kicker, Phil Dawson.
Yeah, and you already mentioned it earlier. Baker is a big one. He does so much for this defense. Oftentimes he lines up in the slot, covering the slot receiver. He's got excellent instincts in the running game, and it's a big one that they're going to have to overcome. And Cunningham gave up some early pressure on the first drive of the game, the play that Rosen threw the interception on. He's going to be lined up against Arden Key for the rest of the game.
There's Matt McCrane, whom they signed this week, and ironically, McCrane kicked the game-winning field goal for Oakland in the only game that they have won this season, that wild overtime victory against Cleveland a couple of weeks back. So today, kicking for Arizona. And there is McCrane as they pick up 3 yards here as Gruden continues to pace up and down that sideline, hoping his defense can get off the field. 3rd and 5 coming up.
Well, Paul Gunther is leading a defensive unit that only has 8 sacks on the season. And this game, a guy like Arden Key, if you're not going to get pressure on an offense like the Arizona Cardinals, it's never going to come. So he's lined up and he gets the draw of the 7th-round draft pick Cunningham. Arden Key has to be able to show up on downs like this.
Throws a little bubble screen action near side of the field. That's Kirk springing free. It's a foot race, and Christian Kirk will score. Electrifying play by the rookie. 59 yards for the Arizona touchdown.
Unbelievable effort. I just spoke about Arden Key needing to get pass rush. This time, number 99, he drops in coverage, and he has a chance. He gets an arm on Christian Kirk, but Kirk just shows that athletic ability. You got a great block by the wide receivers for Arizona, and that's what allowed him to get into the secondary for that big play. For an offense that is 32nd in the league in big plays, they've had a couple of them today.
Larry Fitzgerald told us this kid is a stud. Scottsdale kid, grew up not far from here, Saguaro High School product. Byron Leftwich talked about just how knowledgeable he is for a rookie. Says he can put him anywhere on the field. So rare for a kid playing in his first NFL season, but here just the raw athletic ability of Kirk.
And played mostly inside as a slot receiver at Texas A&M, and a lot of times guys that are only 5'11" don't project to be good outside receivers. Now that time he was in the slot, and it shows you his ability, but the fact that he's been able to learn so much and play so many different places along this offense really shows you what kind of football IQ he has. And again, another example of getting the ball to your playmakers' hands. David Johnson, Christian Kirk, already Larry Fitzgerald with a big touchdown grab. Really nice opening start to the game for the Arizona offense.
So 14 unanswered points by Arizona after the Raiders had jumped out to the early 7-0 lead. Garyon Conley, their second-year corner, had that early pick. But since that point, it has been all Cardinals. Matt McCrane, their new kicker, boots it away. 20-year-old kid out of Texas. And Richard takes a knee in the end zone, so Carr and company will have it from the 25. And there is Kirk on the sideline, taken with the 47th overall pick. He's got all the ability on the field. And can you imagine learning behind Larry Fitzgerald? What an invaluable experience this will be for Kirk, however long he's able to play with Fitzgerald.
You know, it really is. It's so important for young guys to have veterans and guys in the locker room that can teach you how to play the game. And it doesn't get any better than having a guy like Larry Fitzgerald to share that insight. I mean, I don't think people really understand how valuable that is for young players coming into the NFL.
Could be the final play of the quarter. 16 seconds as they begin from their own 25. Quick strike, Seth Roberts. We'll need some more from Roberts today. We touched on some of the injuries. No Martavis Bryant and no Jordy Nelson today, as the Raiders with a couple of rookie wide receivers making their debut. That'll take us to the end of the first in Glendale. 14-7, Arizona in front. Inside beautiful State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. Short ride from downtown Phoenix as we begin the second quarter. 14-7, Arizona in front. You see the time of possession. They had the early turnover, the interception thrown by Josh Rosen, but they have recovered nicely with back-to-back touchdowns to take a 7-point lead. Derek Carr and company on a second down play from their own 32-yard line. Keep it on the ground. And that is Jalen Richard with a second little burst as we welcome you back upstairs into the booth. By the way, happy 22nd birthday to Christian Kirk, who just had the 59-yard touchdown.
Not bad.
You got a birthday coming up, right?
I do. I think there's something about Sagittarius and, making plays and, it gets us fired up.
Speaking of birthdays, happy birthday to Don Miller, our main camera operator, who's a close part of the family up here with us in the booth. Happy birthday, Don. Doesn't look a day over 35. Here's Carr after a fresh set of downs, and he will just throw it into the turf. It's been a tough year for Carr, but you spend any time with this kid, as we did yesterday at their team hotel, just oozes positivity, and he is convinced that John Gruden is the perfect coach to lead this organization at this point in time, and that they're going to figure this thing out.
He does. He says that he sees the vision and he understands, and even though it's painful and nobody likes it, it seems like to everybody else outside the building that the building is burning down. He sees the light at the end of the tunnel. They just know that this season is going to be awfully difficult.
Carr on second down. They give chase, and he is sacked again. Zach Moore getting there for Arizona.
This defense knows how to get after the quarterback. Normally that's Chandler Jones that plays that right defensive end position. This time it's Moore, and he just keeps working and working and working. Carr is trying to buy time by sliding to his right. But Colton Miller really doesn't have a chance. He did about as much as he possibly could right there. Carr has to get rid of that ball before Moore can get the sack.
31st sack of the season for Arizona. That is the most through 10 games that they've had since 1974. Here is Richard, who's trying to pick up some of those yards back. Antoine Buffet was there to make contact for this banged-up Cardinals secondary, and they will punt.
You talk about the pressure and the amount of sacks that this defense has been able to generate. Chandler Jones now in this game has 9.5 sacks on the season, but that's really, he's the primary guy. The rest of the sacks come from a lot of different positions, a lot of blitzing from linebackers, and just a big contribution coming from everywhere. And that time it was Zach Moore that made the big play.
Third straight 3-and-out that the Cardinals defense is forced after that early touchdown pass by Derek Carr. Here's Kirk, the rookie, confident after that long touchdown grab earlier. So 7-point Arizona lead. You're watching the NFL on CBS. A nice response by Josh Rosen, the 10th overall pick, after the early interception that he threw to Garyon Conley. Has led them to touchdown drives in 2 of their last 3 possessions. So 14-7 Cardinals as we play early stages in the second. Chase Edmonds, the rookie running back, and 4th-round kid, is tackled on the play by Tyre Whitehead of Oakland, a pickup of only 2. So we've been talking about Josh Rosen. You know, we've seen some of the other rookie quarterbacks. We saw Baker Mayfield a couple of weeks ago. What do you think of Rosen so far? Obviously, the number is hard to evaluate a kid with so much change around him.
So much. It makes it so difficult. The coordinator change, the fact that he's been under so much pressure. You know, what I really have noticed here in the last couple of weeks is how he's been able to bounce back from negative plays. I mean, that's the impressive part about him, and that's something that I think his teammates notice as well.
That pass is deflected, and it is intercepted into the hands of Carl Joseph. The intended receiver was Trent Sherfield, a rookie out of Vanderbilt. Rashawn Melvin was there on the coverage. Second INT created by the defense.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda. Hurry into the Happy Honda Day sales event today. Walmart. Light up Christmas at Walmart. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, second interception thrown just as we were starting to sing Josh Rosen's praises. Tried to throw into a very tight window, deflected by Rashawn Melvin and intercepted by Carl Joseph. So here are the Raiders again. Martin taking on tacklers inside the Arizona 40-yard line. Arch, take us back to the INT.
Yeah, I thought this ball, I think this is on Rosen. This ball is coming in extremely hot, and Sherfield really doesn't have enough time to adjust to it as he's coming out of his break. I mean, Rosen fires it right in there. Rashawn Melvin is all over it, just sticks his hands up, and then Joseph comes down with a second interception for the Raiders today.
So the 9th and 10th interceptions on the season thrown by Rosen. Some extra jawing and pushing as the officials quickly step between them. But there's something very even-keeled about Rosen. Doesn't seem to get too high or low in these kinds of situations. Can the Raiders take advantage of their second takeaway? Only had 7 takeaways, by the way, to the Raiders all season entering this one today. 2nd and 3 from the Arizona 32.
Carr seeing that Antoine Bethea, the free safety number 41, is playing down low as a linebacker.
Here's Martin finding some daylight. First down, run and more. Gabe Jackson, their right guard, with an excellent lead block to spring Martin free. It's a pickup of 10 and another fresh set of downs for the Raiders.
Boy, you really have a nice eye, Spiro. That's what I was going to say. Gabe Jackson gets the key block there. But I really like the way Doug Martin is running the football. I thought last week he really did a nice job against the Los Angeles Chargers, both in the run game and the passing game. And so far in this game, I think when he's gotten his opportunities, he's made the most of it.
Here is DeAndre Washington. First time we've called his number today. Hasn't gotten much action of late. Only 6 rushes, in fact, all season. That's a first down run for Washington.
Offensive line has taken a lot of arrows this year, but inside, they've really done a nice job behind Rodney Hudson and Gabe Jackson. That's where they get the most production. And so far, at least in this drive, that's exactly where John Gruden is calling his runs.
On first down, the run play called as Washington barely able to pick up a yard here. Raiders have scored on 20 of their 26 possessions inside the red zone this season, but 0-4 on their last 4 trips, trying to tie this game. Oakland 5 straight losses, all 5 coming by at least 14 points. Last week falling to the Chargers 20-6. Longest single season losing streak for them since 2014. That, of course, was Derek Carr's rookie season when they lost 10 straight.
Watch this backside combination with Cook and the running back.
Carr's second down pass is caught That's Martin out of the backfield, forced out of bounds by Josh Bynes, a young man who Steve Wilks really likes. It'll be third down.
Really is. Bynes has done a really nice job, especially playing the run, and the situation where they just outflank Bynes to the flat, and Carr is able to make an easy throw to pick up some yards to put it in a 3rd and 3 situation. They were down in this area last week against the Chargers and did not have a lot of success choosing to run the ball. Derek Carr's going to throw this one.
Carr rolling out to the end zone. It's caught. Brandon LaFell for the Oakland touchdown. Carr knew exactly where he was going with the football, and Oakland on the verge of tying it at 14.
What a combination between throw and catch. LaFell working against the great Patrick Peterson, and Peterson is in good shape. He just stumbles when he comes out of his break, but I don't think it would have mattered. That ball location is perfectly placed for LaFell to come down with his toes right inside the sideline.
What a matchup between those two, LaFell and Peterson, who actually played together a couple of years at LSU, 08 and 09. Brandon LaFell has been one of the few bright spots for this Raiders offense that has really struggled this season. Second touchdown catch of the campaign for LaFell as they go 50 yards in just over 3.5 minutes. Back with you in Glendale, 14 points for the Raiders off of a couple of Josh Rosen interceptions. And this is where we sit, all tied at 14 with 8:20 to play before halftime. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, rest of our CBS crew on a beautiful 72-degree day in Glendale, Arizona. Thanks to have you with us here on CBS in week number 11. As Rosen and company will take it back at the 25. Well, on Tuesday, members of the Arizona Cardinals and the USO hosted the annual Pros vs. Joes event at the team's Tempe training facility. Cardinal players hosted local military and their families and competed against soldiers stationed abroad. The NFL is committed in its effort to honor, empower, and connect with our nation's service members, veterans, and their families. Nicely done by the Cardinals, a franchise so entrenched in the community out here in Arizona. So how does the young rookie Josh Rosen respond after his second INT? David Johnson, the lone setback. Larry Fitzgerald in motion. And some more pre-snap movement. Looked like Ode Ibushi.
False start. Offense number 70. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It was indeed Ibushi who takes over today for Justin Pugh, another member of their offensive line that went down last week, was placed on IR this week with the knee injury. But what have you seen so far, Arch, from the quarterbacks?
Well, kind of a mixed bag. You know, you've seen a couple really nice plays from Rosen, but then a couple bad throws that have led to interceptions. And for Carr and the Raiders offense, they've been able to take advantage of the miscues and turn those into 2 touchdowns.
Johnson able to break the initial tackle, but the Raiders had reinforcements coming. You see the marker thrown behind the play. Here is Jerome Boger.
Holding. Offense number 84. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's the tight end Jermaine Gresham. The man penalized, and this makes things a little bit harder now for Rosen and the offense.
Boy, it really does. When they've been successful, it's because they've had really nice production on first down running the ball, and they're putting their offense in really favorable third down situations, and they've been able to capitalize on that. It's the first time today now they have to dig themselves out of a hole to try and keep this drive going.
Rosen from the gun on 1st and 25, and he is leveled. Hurst getting there for the Raiders. A team-high 3 sacks entering the day, and a 5th-round stud out of Michigan right at Rosen.
Yeah, this just shouldn't happen. This is a free hitter with plenty of guys in for protection. David Johnson releases, but I'm not exactly sure what Andre Smith was doing in that situation. Miscommunication between Smith and Ibushi, the right guard, And what a disastrous start for this drive as Rosen now is facing 2nd and 33 from his 2-yard line.
Cardinals just trying to avoid a catastrophe here on 2nd and 33. That is Johnson. And Rosen came up a little bit woozy after that last sack. Now, we asked Wilkes about the concern. We talked about the injuries up front to the offensive line. They lose Justin Pugh, another veteran guy. No DJ Humphries today. You've got such an investment in this rookie quarterback. But I said, look, we just got to go press forward and play. It's all hands on deck. Not many in the playbook for 3rd and 31.
Yeah, well, you've got to give yourself a chance. You just can't allow free hitters to have that kind of access to your quarterback.
They'll just give it to Johnson here. Barely able to get back to the 5-yard line. P.J. Hall, one of these young defensive rookies that John Gruden and Paul Guenther really want to evaluate over the last half of the season. We've already seen Hurst. And Guenther has to be very pleased so far with some of these youngsters.
He's had a couple breakdowns. A big play to Christian Kirk and, a bad angle by the free safety that led to Fitzgerald's touchdown. But they have taken the ball away 2 times and have set up their offense in great field position. And they're going to do it again here after this punt.
Decent looking punt by Andy Lee. In fact, terrific considering he was backed up back at his own end zone. As Richard trying to move right after a 53-yard punt by the Pro Bowler Lee. Gerald Hodges on the tackle, a return of only 3. A reminder to stay here. The Verizon halftime report comes your way next. We'll send you to James Brown and the crew in New York. Get you caught up around the league. A couple of surprising scores that you'll see as they will get you all caught up on the Verizon halftime report.
The Raiders have to continue to run the ball. I think they've really done a nice job in this game when they've been productive with Doug Martin up the middle and ease some of that pressure off of that offensive line. But the run game has to play a big part of this drive.
They'll do exactly that here with Martin. Marcus Golden on the tackle. We told you about the crazy week that the Raiders had. The smoke from the fires about 140 miles to the north actually forced them to move to an indoor facility up the street. They don't have their own indoor practice facility, so they actually practiced in a place where they play soccer on an ice skating rink. As Carr pitches here to Martin, the field was only about 15 yards long. It was very wide, but really limited them to what they could do in practice. Just basically had a couple of walkthroughs this week.
Yeah, they said all of their deep routes, they were basically running into a wall. So they had the width of the field, which allowed them to get all their splits, but they couldn't really do anything for timing. And you consider the fact that this is a not experienced wide receiving core, puts even more pressure on the passing game. Might have a nice matchup at the top of the screen with Richard on Bynes, the middle linebacker.
Carr taking a shot, goes right in that direction. Arch all over it. Richard, the intended receiver, but Bynes was there. And Gruden wants that one back.
It's a matchup that you want, but Bynes plays it perfectly. He knows he has a nice cushion, stays right on top of it, squeezes into the sideline, and really nowhere for Carr to throw the ball. So a really nice job by Bynes understanding the situation that he's in and forcing the Raiders to punt.
Arch, what do you think Gruden was upset with? Should Richard have come back, maybe altered the route?
I think he's upset because he had great field position and they went 3 and out.
Told you that the back end of the Cardinals secondary is banged up today, but Gruden was hot. And he's letting Carr know about it. Said that Carr actually had a couple of chances to get the ball down the field last week. And he's on his young quarterback there on the sideline.
I think that's the one thing that really stands out and is glaring with Carr in the offense of how they haven't been able to strike downfield. 2 years ago, he was hitting those deep, those intermediate passes and striking downfield. But this year, only 38% of his passes. I know that's a weird stat, have gone for more than 10 yards. So they need to be able to stretch the field, and they need to be able to come up with some of these chunk plays to get their offense going.
Yeah, that 38 percentage is by far the lowest in the league. They just have not been able to get the football down the field. Rosen eluding the sack. That pass, boy, nearly intercepted. Off the hands of the tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones.
Joseph almost comes down with his second pick of the game, and Rosen has to avoid Arden Key, who was in his face immediately. Seals-Jones right there in the breadbasket. He bobbles it, and the Cardinals dodge a major bullet.
Arden Key, the young rookie defensive end, the third-round pick, was the man who applied the pressure and felt like he should have been able to bring Rosen to the turf. Johnson running right. Whitehead on the tackle. As this Oakland defense taking advantage of good field position, and anyone who's watched the Raiders this year knows they have had maybe the worst field position of any team in the league. John Gruden was lamenting that in our meeting with him last night. But they have won that battle today as they force a 3rd and 9.
The Cardinals started off this game really doing a nice job of extending drives and keeping the time of possession in their favor, but 2 negative plays to start both of the last 2 drives, and again Rosen is sitting in 3rd and long.
Rosen's pass too high, intended for Fitzgerald right around the 20, and that would have been right at the 1st down marker. But Rosen now starting to struggle, and they will punt.
He really is, and they're all kind of the same route concept, the comebacks or the curls. You know, you've seen a couple times now the ball really hasn't been on target, and he's
Six pass attempts. Lee with another booming kick, and this one is off the hands of Richard. He's able to recover for Oakland, and they will actually have pretty decent field position. Another near disaster. Zeke Turner was there. 58-yard punt by Lee.
Yeah, Richard, he has great hands. He just misjudges it. Goes right through his hands, and very fortunate, very lucky that he's able to pick it up and retain possession of the football.
Richard is actually their punt returner at the moment because Dwayne Harris, one of John Gruden's wide receivers, one of the few healthy ones he has today, is out at the moment with a chest injury. His return is questionable, so at the moment Oakland is down to 4 healthy wide receivers. 2 of them are rookies who are making their NFL debut today.
Cardinals with all of their defenders underneath 10 yards. So the deep part of the field is open if they can protect.
Carr faking a pitch, and he goes back. This is Aitman, one of those aforementioned rookies making his NFL debut today. A pickup of 9 yards. And Aitman with his first NFL catch.
Really a nice job of the Cardinals defense disguising, and Derek Carr thought that he had a pretty good play against a good blitz look, but the Cardinals drop back in coverage, and they're able to make the tackle.
Saw Jordy Nelson, knee injury last week against the Chargers, out today, as is Martavis Bryant, who injured the PCL in his knee last week. Expected to miss at least a couple of weeks. All right, 2nd and short. Washington is hit hard. It was Josh Bynes able to make first contact, and boy, putting some of his athletic ability on display.
Really nice, number 57. First he swims the center, Rodney Hudson, and gets up off the ground and makes the play in the backfield. This defensive line really has done a nice job this year in stuffing the run and creating negative plays and getting sacks.
John Gruden taking his, Arch taking his first time out. Another reminder to keep it here. The Verizon halftime report comes your way next. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower will get you caught up around the league. Week number 11 on the Verizon halftime report.
Raiders only 1 for 5 on third down so far in this game, and we haven't seen a lot of plays, a lot of attempts to their running backs. Again, Richard is split out wide. Patrick Peterson is going to go out with them. But the backs have been a big part of this offense, and surprise Carr hasn't gone to them more often on third down.
And it looks like the Raiders are going to have to burn another timeout here. So they call 2 successive timeouts. That'll obviously get John Gruden's ire. They do have the 2-minute warning here.
I think it's more
now
important.
Penalty marker thrown.
Timeouts called by the offense.
You actually can't call back-to-back timeouts. That is a flag. So that makes matters even worse if you're Gruden.
Brutal sequence right there. And now instead of 3rd and 2, you're going to move it back, and it's going to be 3rd and 7.
The rulebook states you cannot call successive timeouts like that, and that gets the flag from Jerome Boger.
Yeah, that's on Derek Carr. He's doing a lot at the line of scrimmage, and he runs out of time and tries to call the timeout, but not aware of the rule book.
So the penalty makes it a 3rd and 7 back at their own 40. Carr steps up. Incomplete. Intended for Roberts. And very little time coming off the clock. Arizona with all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Olsen Pierre coming with the pressure.
Well, 3rd and 7, so now you get an opportunity to maybe rush the passer. Chandler Jones again almost turns the corner on Miller, and that forces Carr to climb up inside the pocket and make an inaccurate throw on the run. So a critical, costly mistake, putting them in 3rd and 7, forces them to punt the ball.
Johnny Townsend, their rookie punter, 5th-round pick. Trying to angle this one in, but unable to keep it out of the end zone, as Arizona will have it from their own 20. So still a couple seconds before the 2-minute warning. And another chance for Josh Rosen to atone. He's thrown 2 interceptions. Rosen, who began the year, of course, behind Sam Bradford, spent the first 3 weeks as the backup. Then Bradford benched in week 3. Rosen came on, making his debut. Made his first start the following week in week number 4. When his first 2 starts without throwing an interception, really avoided the big mistake. But that has turned today. 2 interceptions, the last of which was really on his shoulders on the deflection to Carl Joseph. How does he handle this 2-minute offensive situation with all 3 timeouts and 2:02 remaining? This is Johnson. Right up the gut, tackled by Hurst. A pickup of a half dozen. 2-minute warning. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. And by the Spark Cash Card from Capital One.
Can't ask for a better day in the desert today. Roof is open here inside State Farm Stadium. 1:58 to play for Arizona. All 3 timeouts left as Josh Rosen, 2 interceptions thrown today. He's only attempted 9 passes, 3 of 9 for 85 yards. He does have the 2 touchdowns, so this basically has been kind of a microcosm of the rookie season till this point for Rosen. Some good, some bad, but a chance for some more points.
Well, he's got to make it happen right here on this drive and try and have something positive going into halftime.
David Johnson with a 6-yard run to get the drive going. This is 2nd and 4 from the 26. Rosen well protected, throws a bullet, and it is caught. That's the rookie Trent Sherfield. That's a 1st down catch for Arizona. And the clock running with 1:45 remaining. First NFL catch for the rookie Sherfield. This is Johnson out of the backfield. Johnson has some lead blockers in front of him, out of bounds close to the 49. Mason Cole, the rookie center out of Michigan, their third-round pick, springing him free, a pickup of 17.
Yeah, really nice play call and really good execution by Byron Leftwich and the Cardinals offense. Both Ibushi and Andre Smith getting out there leading the way, and then David Johnson kind of does what David Johnson does and puts them in a place now where they can try and get something before halftime.
So Matt McCrane signed just a couple of days ago, yesterday officially, as Phil Dawson out today with a hip injury. And McCrane now getting that leg warmed up. You saw the bobble by Rosen, recovers. Jaquez Smith was there for the Raiders, and another near disaster for Arizona.
Yeah, really not much to say about that. It hits Rosen right in the hands, and now they have to avoid another disaster. And just when you're getting something going, now you've got a negative play putting you in 2nd and 15. You have to burn another timeout, and
Arizona taking its first timeout with 1:23 to play. And it will be 2nd and 15. There's Paul Gunther. 4 years with Jay Gruden in Cincinnati, built a relationship with John. And John bringing him over as his defensive coordinator here year one with the Raiders. On 2nd and 15, boy, how did Rosen escape the initial sack? And then it's incomplete. Actually put it right on Johnson's hands. It was P.J. Hall who had Rosen in his grasp.
A really nice move and get off by P.J. Hall. Oh my, that was what you call quick pressure. He beats Andre Smith to the inside. And Rosen, great instincts with eyes in the back of his head to get out of that. That's pretty amazing that he's able to get out of that sack, and he dumps it out and tries to salvage another disaster.
Hall, the 57th overall pick in the last draft. All kinds of movement pre-snap.
False start. Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Well, I got to say, if you are a lover of offensive football, these last two drives have felt like the preseason.
This is absolutely brutal. What a brutal second quarter for the Cardinal offense. It really started off showing some promise there in the first quarter, but it has been absolutely miserable here for Rosen here in the second quarter.
Well, I figure you'd like it as a former defensive stud. 3rd and 20. Rosen, quick strike from the gun. That's the rookie Kirk who had the big touchdown catch earlier, but not much forward momentum and progress for this Arizona offense as they will punt. Well, Derek Carr probably didn't think he'd get another chance, but they will get it back as John Gruden takes his 3rd and final timeout with 1:04 left in the half.
It's a smart use of the timeout. It basically saves you about 40 seconds off of the clock. So now Carr is going to have to navigate the 2-minute drill with, going to get the ball with right around a minute left with no timeouts, and there's plenty of time to get themselves into field goal position if they execute.
We enjoyed our time with John Gruden yesterday. Obviously has taken his lumps at 1-8. And I said, look, we didn't anticipate having that contractual showdown with our best defensive player, Khalil Mack. A very tough decision to ship him out and get some draft picks. But there's some big decisions, tough decisions that they've made. We touched on the trade by Amari Cooper, as they try to retool and get themselves ready for the future. Punt by Lee, and Richard this time able to field it cleanly inside his own 10-yard line. So here comes Carr, no timeouts, and 62 seconds left. Carr, till this point, Arch, just 5 of 10 for 51 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
He did have a couple drops, and he has made some really nice throws, namely on their 2 touchdown plays. But now he's got to navigate the length of the field here, at least, 50 yards, 60 yards, to get a chance to go into halftime with a 3-point lead with no timeouts.
See how confident Gruden is in his offense here with no timeouts. So maybe take some shots down the field. Underneath, this is Richard. Minimal pickup, Marcus Golden on the tackle. Raiders will get the football to begin the second half. And they do not appear to be in any rush here with 43 seconds left.
Yeah, they're just hoping that that first play that they were going to be able to break one and get a big chunk play. After that, now you just got to avoid the catastrophic play against a defense that is known to get great pressure on the quarterback. And they are in a pass rushing posture here trying to get to Carr.
5 straight losses for the Raiders. Their lone victory this season, that wild Week 3 overtime victory over the Cleveland Browns. Another run play called to Richard. Actually, the Raiders leader in catches entering play today. As that takes us to halftime here in Glendale. Raiders jumped out to the early lead, then 14 straight for Arizona before Oakland is able to tie it at 14. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Back with you from beautiful State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona, on a 70-degree day here in the desert. Time now to take a look at the gain of the first half. Good start. Josh Rosen to the rookie. Christian Kirk, the Scottsdale kid, taking it 59 yards to the end zone as Arizona was able to score back-to-back touchdowns as the NFL on CBS continues. Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta, home game for you today.
It is, yep.
Pretty good moments for both defenses. We saw both quarterbacks make some good throws and some mistakes. Rosen with a couple of interceptions. What did you see?
Yeah, it really is. It started off really promising if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan, but a disastrous second quarter. And Rosen just has to play better. He had one good throw, but the turnovers really allowed Oakland to get back in it. They scored 14 points off of those turnovers, and that was really the main highlight for the Raiders. Both offenses really looking choppy here in that second quarter, and they've got to get back on track. Use the running game here in the second half as the focal point for their offense.
Cardinals 2-7, their worst start to a season in 12 years. Both of their wins coming against San Francisco, weeks 5 and 8. Raiders, of course, 5 straight losses. Their only win against Cleveland all the way back in week number 3. What about the numbers? What stood out, Arch, in that first half?
Well, both offenses, I thought, really did a nice job most of the time running the football. You see the passing game is extremely anemic. Rosen has to do a better job with his accuracy. But again, it comes down to taking care of the football. Do not give the other team short fields and really use that running game to ease the pressure off of both of these passing attacks.
They begin the second half on the ground. This is Richard. Shot out of a cannon up the far side of the field. And he had some terrific lead blockers. Kelechi Osemele and the center Rodney Hudson as they pick up 24.
Chandler Jones goes way upfield, and that's what allows the soft corner. Because Jones goes so far upfield, the Raiders are able to get the edge on Olsen Pierre, who is no match for the speed of Richard as he gets around the corner.
Longest play of the day for Oakland. Carr under center from just outside their own 47. So here is Richard. So he begins the second half. Rather than Doug Martin, he picks up 4 yards here. Now this is exactly the kind of start that the Raiders were hoping for, trying to unlock this 14-14 tie.
The Raiders should use their running backs. They really didn't use them a lot in the passing game. That's kind of been a staple of who they are and their identity so far this season. And also use that running game to put you in some better situations so that the pass rush doesn't impact the quarterback.
Carr on 2nd and 6. Check down. This is Richard again inside the 40. Appeared to be forced out of bounds initially, but it looks like he was still in bounds. Josh Bynes finally was there. Pickup of 16 yards And it's been the Jalen Richard show here to begin the third quarter.
Well, that's what they need to do. Those are the matchups. Richard on Bynes is a mismatch. And Bynes is a good inside linebacker, but he doesn't have the speed to catch up with Richard as he gets outside. So a really nice job of creating some traffic, and that did not allow Bynes to get out there to make the tackle in time.
DeAndre Washington now comes onto the field as Richard gets a blow. Here is Washington, able to find some daylight. This was an Oakland offense that had not scored a touchdown in their last 2 games. 23 straight drives without a touchdown. They, of course, ended that streak with their first possession today after the Garyon Conley interception. There's Doug Martin, who is their usual starter, has been since the injury to Marshawn Lynch. But so far, it's been Richard and Washington for Gruden.
A little surprised to see Martin on the sideline, and thought when he had the chance there in that first half, he really ran the ball well.
And the Raiders have told us that Doug Martin is fine, simply a coach's decision at the moment, as Gruden given some of his younger backs a chance. On 2nd and 5, little play action maneuver from Carr. Throws across his body, finds the tight end. That's Lee Smith. That is his first catch of the day. The 8th-year man out of Marshall. And DeAndre Washington was on the field, made a nice little block. And it will be 3rd down coming up.
Raiders abysmal so far today, only 1 for 6 on 3rd downs. But it's only 3rd and very short, so fully expect this to stay on the ground. And I would imagine they'd go right behind number 61 and number 66 as they go right at that Arizona Cardinal defensive line.
Unbalanced offensive line here. David Sharp onto the field for Oakland. And a flag thrown, whistling the play dead.
False start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
John Gruden sending the extra offensive lineman, and it was David Sharp who was penalized on the play.
David Sharp, the extra offensive lineman, playing at left tackle, and he just barely flinches before the ball is snapped. And how about these offenses? Just catastrophic, silly mistakes on key critical downs, and you just can't have that if you want to play winning football.
Third and 6. Carr sacked. Antoine Bethea getting there for the Cardinals. 3rd time they have sacked Derek Carr today.
Another time that they have a free hitter. Antoine Bethea lined up as a linebacker. And I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but again, the protection is nowhere to be found. And there's no reason why if you have a 6 or a 7-man protection, you should be able to pick up that blitz. And it looked like just at the last moment, Lee Smith, the tight end, was too late reacting to the blitzing Bethea, and a nice blitz by Steve Wilkes' defense to get the Carr.
So this would be the longest field goal for the rookie Daniel Carlson, who's their 3rd kicker they've used this season, a 49-yarder. His previous long 48, and that one had plenty of leg. Nicely done by the rookie out of Auburn, as the Raiders able to break the tie. 17-14 as they salvage 3. 49-yard field goal by the rookie kicker Daniel Carlson to get the Raiders back on top. 17-14 as we play with 10 and change remaining in this 3rd quarter. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, rest of our CBS crew from Glendale. TJ Logan watches it take a bounce into the end zone as the Cardinals will have it from the 25. Well, the SEC on CBS features some great Thanksgiving weekend football. Friday, Arkansas will take on Missouri, and then Saturday, the 83rd Iron Bowl as Auburn battles #1 Alabama. Missouri with the big victory over Tennessee yesterday. Brad, Gary, and Jamie had the call in that one, and we will be watching Thanksgiving weekend. So here's Josh Rosen, his first chance in the second half under center. Rosen 6 of 13 for $114 in the first half. 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. His 9th and 10th of the season. as they begin with a David Johnson run. And this kind of new burgeoning relationship between Rosen and his offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, continuing. Third game since Leftwich took over as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's got to settle down here as he starts the third quarter, because he really only had about one good pass. He had the 2 interceptions. It just generally was not as accurate as he should have been. So he's got to do a much better job here for the Cardinals.
Johnson again. You know, we asked Leftwich what it's been like with Rosen, and it was interesting. He said the first thing I had to do was get to know Josh, how he's wired, how he thinks in pressure moments. Once I was able to figure that out, now I feel like I can call plays for him. Guy who obviously played the position at a very high level for a number of years. First down, Cardinals.
That's a very challenging situation for, I think, everybody involved, including Byron Leftwich, who, again, you know, he has the task of trying to get the offense going after severely underachieving at the beginning part of the season, and making sure that he teaches Rosen the right progression to play quarterback.
Rosen talking about Leftwich. He obviously knows about his career, researched him before coming in to begin his offseason work as a rookie. And he just says, look, he knows what it's like, and he's not that far removed from playing the position. He knows what it's like to, you know, pick out the protections in the red zone when you're under pressure and the team's coming to blitz you. Just, he's been there, he's done that, and he has been a huge sounding board for the young rookie quarterback. Certainly has been a work in progress for this offense, as evidenced by what we've seen today. Trying to find some points here early in the third quarter. Rosen all day to throw. Off the far seam, and it is incomplete. Intended for J.J. Nelson. Marcus Gilchrist was with him step for step.
Boy, I thought that if Rosen let this ball go just a moment earlier, he might have had something, but he hesitated and he waited, and then now J.J. Nelson can't use his speed to run away from Gilchrist. It looks like there was maybe some early contact right there, but you've got to give Nelson a chance and room to use his speed to separate from the safety. I don't think Rosen gave him that opportunity to maximize his speed downfield.
Rosen eluding a couple of sackers coming and just throws it out of bounds. P.J. Hall among those applying the pressure. Also Nicholas Morrow was there. Another couple of young kids on this Oakland defensive front.
Oh, we have seen some nice pocket awareness from Rosen, but I think today there is some opportunities to get the ball downfield in some chunk plays, and that last one was another example of just being late and not giving his receiver a chance to use what he does well.
Cardinals today, just 3 offensive plays that have gone 10 or more yards. 5th punt for Andy Lee. You see Dwayne Harris, who's actually back after leaving the game earlier in the first half with a chest injury. Signals for a fair catch. Not a great punt by Lee, something you rarely see from the Pro Bowl punter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Kay Jewelers. For all the moments, for love, forever. Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. And by State Farm. Here to help life go right.
Arizona and the Oakland Raiders, 17-14 Raiders in front with 8:01 to play, third quarter. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, our producer Sellers Shy, Chris Venson, our director, sitting in today for Jim Cornell. We haven't seen Doug Martin yet so far in the second half. And Arch, you know what it's like to be on a team that's struggling, frustration starting to boil over. This was the first half. John Gruden getting all into his quarterback. We're told that Gruden continued to jaw at Carr over the next couple of seconds. Was actually, some players had to step between them, separate them, but
hey man, he loves to ride his players and loves to ride his quarterback. I've never been a guy that believes that a coach should do that in game. You want to ride them hard in practice, but you got to let the guys play on Sunday.
And we know how tight those two are, and just attached at the hip really the last couple of months trying to get this franchise back on track. It has been a frustrating season, no doubt, and just 1-8 and mired in the middle of this 5-game losing streak.
Well, they're 1-8 on the season, and they're only 1 for 7 on third down. They just haven't been able to crack the code. And getting at this Cardinals defense, Richard again outside on Deone Buchanan. Better matchup for the Cardinals than Bynes.
Carr up top, and it is caught. What a play by LaFell. 24 yards, and it looks like LaFell is hobbled.
Wow, what a great effort, a great grab by LaFell, and Carr leads him to the back shoulder up high. Leonard Johnson is in great shape in coverage. The newly signed Leonard Johnson this week, the former Buffalo Bill. LaFell has to go up high, gets the grab, but then he comes down and has to limp off the field. Great effort, but now Carr again with another one of his weapons and receivers out of the game.
Already no Martavis Bryant and Jordy Nelson, as DeAndre Washington crosses inside that Arizona 30, and boy, just can't seem to buy a break. Dwayne Harris, another healthy wide receiver, was checked on earlier with a chest injury. He's returned. So two of their remaining 3 healthy players at the moment are rookies making their NFL debuts.
I mean, you have Seth Roberts. He's been around. Marcel Aitman. Not a lot of experience there. Saeed Blacknall, another undrafted free agent. Not a lot of guys for Carr to throw the ball to that have caught balls in games.
Where does he go here on 2nd and 5? Quick strike. This is Roberts. And that will be a Raiders first down. They needed the 25-yard line, and now a flag is thrown. Perhaps something extra at the end of the play as Roberts picks up 5.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 23, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Boy, I don't love that call one bit. You know, Ben Wickery, he's running full
number
speed.
Number 68.
Number 23, Ben Wickery, is running full speed, and as he's stumbling, he just kind of falls, and Roberts falls all over him. Terrible call out there, and I can't say to Ben Wickery to do anything different.
Ben Wickery having to play a little bit of safety today with the absences of both Budda Baker and Rudy Ford. Raiders have really stayed committed to the run today as DeAndre Washington pushes that pile close to the 10-yard line. And they continue, meantime, to look at Brandon LaFell, who really has been their most consistent wide receiver this season. What a loss that would be for Carr in this offense. We've yet to see Doug Martin, John Gruden's usual starter at the running back position, in the half so far. It has been Jalen Richard and DeAndre Washington, and so far so good for the Raiders.
Marcel Aitman at top. He is a big body jump ball type receiver.
Here is Washington. Inside the 5, all the way down to the 3-yard line, tackled on the play by Rodney Gunter, who was playing with a heavy heart. Lost his father earlier this week, was away from the team to attend the funeral services, did not come back and rejoin his team until yesterday. Showing some incredible heart playing in this game.
Really big third down here. Clinton McDonald, a defensive tackle, has checked in the game, number 97 on the right side of the line of scrimmage. A lot of big bodies inside.
This is Washington. Needed just about the 2-yard line. Gunter is there. And let's see where the officials mark the football. As that clock continues to run now, we come up on the final 3 minutes. And now they finally signal first down and goal for the Raiders. But the concern now is on Colton Miller, their young, highly touted rookie left tackle, the young man they took with the 15th overall pick. He's actually been bothered by a knee injury the last few weeks. Originally hurt it in week 4 against Cleveland.
Here he is, and you're going to watch the left guard, Kelechi Osemele, just kind of fall into, or excuse me, that's Rodney Hudson, the center, just kind of fall into that right knee. And you said it, the knee has been a big nagging problem the entire season, and he's really had to battle here, giving up a lot of pressure, but they think that if he can make it through the fire that he's in right now, that it's going to set him up to have a very good career there at left tackle.
So the Raiders hope for the best now as Miller walks off on his own power. David Sharp has come on now at left tackle. Sharp, a second-year player out of Florida, acquired this season off waivers from Houston. First and goal. 9th play of the drive for the Raiders that began at their own 35. Is now some pre-snap movement.
That time it's Osemele. Unbelievable.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Second false start penalty against the Raiders.
In a extremely, 2 or less short yardage situation. Again, they line up with all of their heavy personnel so they could try and pound it and try and pick up those 2 yards. But again, that was still first down, but man, sloppy.
That Cardinal fan bringing his own party. He has a disco ball around his neck. Nicely done. First and goal.
Again, Yateman in the game, 6'4" wide receiver, and a guy that is known to be able to get those 50-50 shots.
Washington take it on that defensive front. Trey Boston able to get there first, and now some pushing after the whistle. Don't want to pick up an unsportsmanlike penalty here as cooler heads prevail, and it will be second and goal for Oakland. There's Steve Wilks, 49-year-old rookie head coach. Has already had to make a very tough decision of firing his offensive coordinator, Mike McCoy, on October the 19th, looking for their 3rd win.
So now Jared Cook comes into the game, so they take out the big offensive lineman. They put their tight end, who is one-on-one with Patrick Peterson, not a great matchup.
3 tight ends. Carr fakes the pitch, low pass. It is caught by Smith. But Josh Bynes was right there with that Arizona defense.
On Rodney Gunter, he just reads this all the way. I did not love that play call or the execution of that play call, but number 95, right there, he sees it all the way. He comes off and he's right there to make the play. I thought that Jared Cook was able to uncover and was open to Carr's left.
3rd and goal. And it looks like the Raiders will take a timeout. Gruden will take another look at that play sheet. Up 3 on CBS.
Raiders again have their heavy personnel with a defensive lineman, Clinton McDonald, checked into the game. And the Cardinals countered that by having their backup center in the game, Daniel Munyer, right inside.
3rd and goal. Run play, and Washington is stuffed. Antoine Bethea making first contact.
You knew they were going to run right up inside with that heavy personnel. How about this? Munyer, the backup center, number 62. He gets in on the action. How about that for a guy getting low in a goal line situation? Comes in there, gets in on the tackle, but man, what a goal line stand for the Arizona Cardinals. And I think going for the 3 points right here is the right decision. You've got a rookie quarterback that has struggled in this game, and to be able to go up by 6 in a tight ball game is the right thing to do. It might be painful. I know it's tempting to try and go for it, but the smart play is to go for the 3 points.
Well, the good news for Oakland is that Colton Miller was able to come back in after leaving for a couple of plays with what appeared to be a right leg injury. So Gruden will play it safe here with his rookie kicker Daniel Carlson. Good snap, good hold. Hit a career-long 49-yarder earlier. And the Raiders build on their lead now at 6. And it kind of has that look like, man, I would love to have gone for it there. But the Raiders able to extend their lead.
The analytics, they say you go for it on 4th down. I mean, really, at the end of the day, you have nothing to lose. But what's more disappointing, I think, is the false start. Because, you know, you had some good stuff going. You had some great momentum. You're set up, 1st and goal inside the 2. And just another silly mistake that has plagued both of these teams.
Arch, you talk about all hands on deck. Steve Wilkes inserting his backup offensive center, Daniel Munyer, into the game as a defensive lineman on that last 3rd and goal.
I don't know if in all my years I've really ever seen that. Putting in, you see defensive players because the offense, they want more athletes on the field, so a lot of times they'll put defensive players in goal line situations.
Well, he's got a lot of girth, that's for sure. That's what you need in that circumstance.
But I like how he got in there and made the play.
Yes, he did. As Arizona able to limit the Raiders to 3 points. Well, the tradition continues on Thanksgiving Day with football on CBS, featuring a great rivalry between Chicago and Detroit. You can kick off your day with family and football. The NFL Today gets the party started at 12 Eastern right here on CBS. Derek Carr talking things over with his backup quarterback A.J. McCarron, whom Oakland traded for late in the offseason, coming over from Buffalo for that 5th round pick. Well, can Josh Rosen and this Arizona offense generate something? Final seconds coming off the clock here in this 3rd quarter, but not a lot to build on in that quarter for the Cardinals. Rosen just 6 of 15 for 114 yards. Does have the 2 touchdowns, but also 2 picks. And right now down 6. 20-14 Raiders will return to Glendale after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 53. Oh, we told you about a little sideline tiff that John Gruden and Derek Carr had earlier. I think they've made up. Arch?
I love you, man.
It's all about the love. The bond between those two was evident in our time with them yesterday as they try to sort through all the losing and end this losing streak here in Arizona. Update time. Back to New York and James Brown.
Broncos defense got offense.
It did. Von Miller gets an interception, takes it back 42 yards, and Royce Freeman finished his drive off with a 3-yard run. The Chargers leading Denver 19-14. Back to Spiro and Adam.
That AFC West, incredibly competitive. Everyone chasing Kansas City, but the Chargers are right there. What a season they have had behind Anthony Lynn. Rosen on 3rd and 11 has to go to his check down here. That's the tight end Ricky Seals-Jones. The Cardinals ran just 6 offensive plays at him in the 3rd quarter and another 3 and out here to begin the 4th.
Yeah, they've gone completely backwards. 142 yards in the 1st quarter, 33 in the 2nd quarter, and only 13 in the 3rd quarter. So now you have to wonder, as they punt this ball away, is that defense, are they tired?
Dwayne Harris back deep to receive the punt right around his own 25-yard line. Well, Andy Lee, the Pro Bowl punter who shanked his last one, something you rarely see, gets a lot of healthy leg on this one. Harris runs out of bounds. Boy, look out. Hard collision as Harris yet to get to his feet.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fidelity Investments, where we're redefining value for investors. And by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL.
Now the good news, Dwayne Harris looks like he's okay after that hard collision with one of our camera operators down on the sideline. Harris able to walk off on his own power. And this is Jalen Richard. Well, you want to be a camera operator covering the NFL, it is a dangerous world. Here's Harris. He's going to run into our cameraman on the sideline, Tony Tosta. Looks like everyone's okay, thankfully. Tony able to get back onto his feet. Taking one for the team, and Harris looks like he's okay. Harris left the game earlier with a chest injury. Missed a good chunk of the first half. We've touched on all the injuries that they have at wide receiver. No Brandon LaFell. There's Tony making sure that everything's okay. Brandon LaFell, we've been told, has an Achilles injury. Was not able to put much weight on that left leg. Already without Jordy Nelson and Martavis Bryant. Look at Richard making a miss. Richard putting him in the old spin cycle. Nifty play, a pickup of 11 and a Raiders first down.
Boy, it really is. And the Raiders, playing a little bit conservatively. They don't want to make a mistake and give the Cardinals back the ball. Just a little quick screen against 3-deep coverage, and Richard is able to do the rest. Good block on the outside there by his tight end, and goes upfield to pick up the first down. Now the Arizona Cardinal defense the Raiders held the ball for over 12 minutes in that third quarter, so this defense has to be a little tired out there.
And we have seen Richard almost exclusively in the second half. John Gruden making the decision to sit Doug Martin and go with Richard here. DeAndre Washington has been the backup. And he has given them a little jolt, has Richard here in the second half.
And when Marshawn Lynch went out and he went on to IR, they basically split 50-50, both Doug Martin and Jalen Richard. And I thought, again, that even last week against the Chargers and early in this game, I really thought that Martin was doing some really nice things. I didn't think that, Richard has also done some good things, but I just didn't see him as an every down back here in the second half.
58 yards on the ground for Richard, 52 for Martin, who actually had a very good first half. Richard again breaking tackles, close to the 45-yard line. And it will be a 3rd and short. And a big third down coming up.
Oh, the Raiders' old friend, third down, has been a really tough down for them. First and foremost is no false starts. You're in a 3rd and short situation, and DeAndre Washington back there, 5'9", 196 pounds. See what Derek Carr has up his sleeve.
We go unbalanced line to the right. First down and more. Gabe Jackson with a terrific lead block to spring DeAndre Washington, a pickup of 7 and an Oakland first down.
Yeah, these guys, Gabe Jackson and again Rodney Hudson, they're the guys that lead the way. Oh, Hassan Reddick gets caught up by the backside offensive tackle. And that's an easy hole on 3rd and short for Washington to pick up the first down.
Washington, who began the day with only 6 rushes all season. 5th-round pick out of Texas Tech in his 3rd NFL season. Getting some nice run in this third quarter. The injured Cardinals, Rodney Gunter, who was playing just days after losing his father earlier this week. And Josh Rosen, meantime, has had a lot of time on that sideline since the intermission.
Wow. That's pretty unbelievable, and that's the kind of game that Oakland has to play.
Fresh set it down for the Raiders. As Washington going nowhere. Corey Peters, who Steve Wilks calls old reliable. This underrated Arizona defense.
He really is. 2 sacks coming into this game, has been really solid against the run. They have some pretty good players up front. Now, they haven't been able to stop the run. That's been the one thing that consistently this year teams have been able to run the ball on them, and they're kind of a feast and famine defense. They get a lot of run stuffs and a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage, but they also give up big chunks as well.
Jalen Richard split out bottom of your picture on 2nd and 12. Carr goes through his reads, far side, and it is complete. That's the tight end Cook. Coverage on the play by Patrick Peterson. Cook had the first touchdown of the game, a 23-yarder from Carr, and here picks up 6.
Yeah, trying to get Taylor on the same route. Remember Jared Cook, his first touchdown of the game? Down in the red zone, a slant and go. That time, they try and do it again with Richard, but Carr goes to the other side of the field where there's Jared Cook on Patrick Peterson.
3rd and 6. Washington lone setback. Here is Roberts. Ducks inside the Cardinals 40, short by about 1.5 yards, a pickup of 5. And it will be 4th down coming up. Right on the edge of Daniel Carlson's range, outside according to Gruden. Carlson hit the longest kick of his very brief career earlier, 49-yarder, and Gruden here is going to punt.
I think that's
animated
the right
conversation.
Hey, you know, I think that's the right play. You have a 6-point lead against an offense that, I mean, let's face it, here in the second half hasn't even been able to pick up a first down. So you punt the ball, hopefully you get inside the 20-yard line, and you make the Cardinals go down the field.
Well, not a sexy decision for Gruden, but one that he feels will give them the best chance as they protect a 6-point lead. Raiders unable to keep it out of the end zone. 6-point game on CBS. Now, we've been following the animated conversation between Gruden and Carr. This was during the commercial. You can see Gruden say, "My fault," at the end of that exchange. A lot of fire between those two today.
Carr looked thrilled as he was walking away from that one. Man, that's like me and you in the booth.
Here's Johnson, first down run. He's so elusive once he gets into open space. Very tight window that time for Johnson. Finally tackled on the play by the rookie Hurst, a pickup of 10 and a first down.
Oh, such an important run. Such an important run as the Cardinals try and get back in this one, to be able to pick up a first down, gain 10 yards on their first play of this drive after just having a terrible second half, has to give them a little bit of confidence.
Johnson again, gaping hole. Johnson still going. Plenty of open real estate. Finally forced out of bounds by Joseph, who may have saved a touchdown.
Well, you see this a lot, and it's been talked about throughout his career. Number 11, Larry Fitzgerald, is really the guy, and his blocking is what springs Johnson. They line him up tight, nasty split. He gets the key block, and then it's Marcus Gilchrist one-on-one with one of the best athletes in the NFL, and absolutely no match is Johnson. Gives the Cardinals exactly what they need in this drive.
53-yard burst by Johnson. So he follows up his performance last week at 183 scrimmage yards with a $127 today on the ground. Gets a blow here with the rookie Chase Edmonds onto the field. Certainly a newfound commitment to getting their best offensive player some more touches.
Yeah, he started off, and the Cardinals started off running the ball extremely well. I think they had about between 60 and 70 yards at halftime, and then they had a terrible third quarter. But man, the chunk plays, the explosive plays, is what the offense has been missing, and it couldn't have come at a better time from number 31.
Third straight game of over 100 scrimmage yards since Leftwich took over. He had just one to Johnson over the first 7 games. That pass incomplete off the hands of a wide open Jermaine Gresham.
Man.
And the frustration continues for the Cardinals.
Boy, these tight ends, we saw Ricky Seals-Jones drop one earlier. This time it's Jermaine Gresham, and I don't like to speculate, but I would imagine that tomorrow the Cardinals tight ends are going to join the injury report, Spiro, with bruised hands.
Tough day for some of them. And Gresham's a two-time Pro Bowler. He was last selected in 2012, former first-round pick of the Bengals back in 2010. Edmonds is the lone setback on 3rd and 10. Play action from Rosen. Throwing far side, it's caught. What a leaping grab by Kirk. They go right at Darryl Worley, and it will be 1st and goal, Arizona.
Christian Kirk saves the day, but this ball is way too late. That ball should be out now. And Worley, because the ball is thrown late, Worley undercuts it, and it almost should have been an interception or a broken up pass. But look at the athletic play by Kirk on the sideline to come down and get that first down is amazing. But Josh Rosen is holding the ball too much, and that ball came out late. He got lucky.
6th play of the drive. Where does he go here? Play action, roll out. It's caught. Fitzgerald for the Arizona touchdown. And we are tied at 20.
Really nice route running, Larry Fitzgerald. And Rashawn Melvin, Fitzgerald goes to his inside. And then he just breaks right out. Melvin, with his eyes in the backfield, drifts. And just as Fitzgerald comes out of his break, that time Rosen hits him with the pass on time.
Some great camera work by our crew here. We see the encouragement first from Leftwich and his quarterback, and then Fitzgerald's reaction after that play. Kirk with the incredible catch, and then Rosen to Fitzgerald. Cardinals in front.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Corona Extra. Find your beach. Verizon, the best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by FedEx, possibilities, what we deliver by delivering.
Well, two teams badly struggling here in Glendale, just 3 wins between them. But they have ratcheted up the intensity, giving us a pretty fun game to watch. Arizona back in front on the Larry Fitzgerald 5-yard touchdown. Fitzgerald, by the way, 25 yards away for 16,000 for his career. Here's Dwayne Harris, who's had to leave the game a couple of times today, taking his lumps, but showing the toughness as he crosses the 25-yard line, a 26-yard return. But what a game it was here. Super Bowl 42 in Glendale. Eli Manning escaping. David Tyree with one of the most iconic catches in Super Bowl history, and then Manning to Plaxico Burress for the game winner as the Giants would upset the Patriots, who were undefeated, of course, at the time, 17-14, as our countdown to the Super Bowl number 53 continues. And of course, we'll have it for you right here on CBS. So how does Carr and company respond? They had to use one of their timeouts earlier. Still plenty of clock as we begin the drive at the 5-minute mark. There's John Gruden, play caller for this offense. Greg Olson, his offensive coordinator, as they try to move the football down the field.
And if I'm the Cardinals, I'm being aggressive, and I'm going to play tight press coverage and make these receivers beat me. I am not going to give Derek Carr any easy throws. They have to earn it.
Little end-around play here. That's Marcel Aitman, again the rookie, making his NFL debut. Brandon LaFell, unavailable, was their best remaining wide receiver today, but had to leave with an Achilles injury, and so they are extremely thin, and now at 3rd and 9.
Got to ask yourself, who is the go-to wide receiver? Who is left in this offense who Derek Carr can count on to make a play?
And it looks like the Raiders have to burn their second. I beg your pardon, it's the Cardinals taking a timeout with under 4 remaining. A reminder coming up after the game time permitting, the State Farm postgame show from New York. JB and the crew standing by, get you caught up around the league. on the State Farm postgame show. No Brandon LaFell, an Achilles injury earlier in the game, so 2 rookies making their NFL debuts on the field right now on the biggest play of the day for the Raiders, 3rd and 9. Carr steps up, lofts the pass, incomplete. Looking in the direction of Roberts, and it will be 4th and 9.
Before the play, I'm sitting here wondering, who is the go-to guy? Your 2 best players that you have on offense right now is Jalen Richard and Jared Cook. Jared Cook not in the game, and Richard is in pass protection. See, the Cardinals are just playing man coverage, and really there's nowhere for Derek Carr to throw the ball. You see he's motioned to one of his receivers to adjust his route, but I think that's one of the problems that you run into when you practice all week in an ice rink.
Very limited reps, basically glorified walkthroughs for the Raiders this week. It's just so tough to get the timing down with these young receivers. This is Kirk. This kid is all kinds of dangerous in the open field. Had a 59-yard touchdown catch earlier and some incredible returns for the Cardinals.
And that was exciting. The catch and run for the touchdown was exciting. This play right here certainly adds some excitement, but I think his biggest play of the game was that 3rd down grab that he had on the sideline that led to that last touchdown by the Arizona Cardinals. But boy, for a team that's looking for their playmakers, I would say that they've done a pretty nice job today getting the ball in his hands and getting David Johnson involved and coming to life here in the 4th quarter when they needed it.
So can Rosen and company end this game and choose some clock here? Late marker comes in behind the line of scrimmage. Worley was there.
Holding. Offense, number 76. This penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Mike Upati, the man on the penalty, and it is declined by John Gruden. Another reminder to stay tuned for the State Farm post-game show. It comes your way next. JB and the fellas will get you caught up, time permitting, right here on CBS. So Arizona with their rookie quarterback with the football. Raiders with 2 timeouts trying to protect this 1-point lead.
Yeah, the holding call really helps out because they decline it to make it 2nd down, and then they don't have to burn the timeout.
Little pitch play here. Rosen to Johnson, trying to find the edge. And Carl Joseph is there with a punishing tackle of Johnson. 3rd down.
Carl Joseph has really kind of shown up. Last week he played a season-high 45 snap and really thought he had a nice game and made some big hits and had some really nice tackles. He had the interception earlier in this game and really another nice job of running the alley and making the hit right there.
So John Gruden takes his 2nd timeout. You saw Paul Gunther pacing the sideline. Had a chance to visit with Gunther yesterday and said, look, this has been even harder than I anticipated. You think certain star players will be around. Obviously the decision to trade Khalil Mack and shipped out Bruce Irvin a couple of weeks ago, now playing with Atlanta.
You mean not having Mack makes his job more difficult? Is that
It has been a tough first year for Gunther and this defensive staff, but they are making do with some of these young players. How huge this would be if they can get off the field on 3rd and 9.
Yeah, 2 takeaways has been a huge improvement for them, but now is when you need the pass rush. And that's something they just simply haven't had, and they really haven't been able to get to Rosen today. But the pass rush right now, if you want to have a chance to get back in the game, the guys up front, Maurice Hurst and Arden Key, have to try and get to Rosen.
Oakland down to its final timeout. Still, of course, have the 2-minute warning. Rosen under duress, incomplete, off the hands of Johnson. It was Arden Key applying the pressure.
Really hurts. You know, the Raiders had played it well, and Johnson wasn't going to pick up the 1st down, but now, because of the fact that he dropped it, again, it saves the Raiders from having to take a timeout and saving them 40 seconds. So 2 plays on that drive. The first one, the holding call, and that time the drop gives the Raiders a lot more time on the clock.
Johnson has had a big day. How about this punt by Lee? Unbelievable coverage down the field. It was Trent Sherfield, their rookie wide receiver, and Chase Edmonds combining as they will down the Raiders inside their own 2-yard line.
What a play. Great punt, and it's exactly how you do it. Now you got to make Carr, with a limited group of weapons, have to go a long way with 1 timeout and the 2-minute warning to try and at least get 3 points.
Well, that is why you pay the punter the big bucks. Andy Lee with a 57-yard punt to down Oakland at their 2-yard line. Incredible.
Do we really want to play punters big bucks, Spiro?
If they're going to make those plays, yes, you do. Carr from his own end zone, hit on the throw, and it's incomplete. Intended for Cook. We talk about a tough set of circumstances for Carr. 2 rookies on the field. No Brandon LaFell, who left the game with an Achilles injury. Just not many options. And now he's throwing from his own end zone.
With two rookie tackles that have struggled this year in pass protection. So this is the time. We just talked about the young guys for the Raiders have to step up and rush the passer. This is where guys like Chandler Jones love to get after the quarterback.
Carr incomplete. Once again looking for Cook. Antoine Bethea was there on the coverage, and it will be 3rd and 10.
Cardinals playing tight coverage. They know they have the advantage and that the Raiders should not be able to get some separation. And so if you're the Raiders now, expect man coverage and maybe run some picks to try and get somebody open, but I don't think you're just going to be able to win one-on-one with your standard route.
Well, just in case you thought you couldn't get worse, Jalen Richard limps to the sideline. Replaced by Washington. Incredible. Carr protected, gets it out, it's batted in the air and incomplete. Josh Bynes with the deflection as his big season continues.
And that's the one thing. Trey Boston coming out with the blitz here, and then Bynes is in the line of scrimmage. He's going to drop out. And if there's one thing, is Trey Boston hits Derek Carr, that Steve Wilks said that Bynes has to add to his game, is get his hands on the ball and come down with interception. And that was a gift. They get off the field, but right now he's killing himself.
So John Gruden will send out his punter and will ask his defense for one more stop. But they're going to have to battle the field position. The punt by Townsend. He's fielded by Kirk, and he will dance inside the Oakland 45-yard line. 47 yards in the punt, 6 on the return.
Oh, man. Oh, I've been there before, too. Right in his hands.
Bynes almost jumped out of his cleats. So now the Oakland defense back onto the field. They have forced 5 3-and-outs. Can they get another one right here?
Well, this first down is critical. You've got to be able to stop the Cardinals to no yards or a minimal gain so you can call your timeout and hopefully try and get off the field.
John Phillips, the tight end in motion. First down run by Johnson. Raiders down to 1 timeout. Of course, the 2-minute warning coming up. That's a loss of 2 there. And now John Gruden will take his final timeout. And coming up tonight on CBS 60 Minutes, got Friend and Me, NCIS Los Angeles, and Madam Secretary. It was a busy week 11. Slowly approaches a close around the country. 2nd and 12 here. State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. Josh Rosen making his 7th career start, trying to get Arizona what would be only their 3rd win of the season. Their only 2 wins, both coming against San Francisco, weeks 5 and then week 8. Both coming since Rosen took over as their starter in week 4. Rosen, who began as a backup early this season behind Sam Bradford. Open for a first down. Johnson lunges forward, sneaks ahead close to the 40-yard line to pick up a 5. And now the Raiders can't stop the clock. There's some pushing. And you see a flag thrown. Carl Joseph and Jermaine Gresham were right in the thick of things. Well, you pick up a penalty here, and you are going to be immediately in your coach's doghouse.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 84, 15-yard penalty, third down.
Just inexcusable by Gresham.
Wow, absolutely brutal. Now you push it back and you stop the clock. And so now you've got 23 seconds before the 2-minute warning. And you're just giving the Raiders extra time on the clock to try and climb back in this.
Keep in mind, Gresham had a drop on their last possession a couple of minutes ago.
Number 84.
You see him shove Joseph. Just no need for that.
Well, he's trying to get him off Larry Fitzgerald. Carl Joseph is laying on Fitzgerald, but by rule, you're not allowed to pull somebody off of a pile. And they consider that a pile, and that's why they give him the flag. I think it's a pretty weak call, but it is the rule.
3rd and 23. Here's Johnson breaking the initial tackle. Johnson, flag thrown. It's a touchdown if it stands. Arden Key with the missed tackle. He had him in his grasp. Johnson runs it 57 yards. Here's the call.
On the run, holding, offense, number 86, 10-yard penalty, replay, third down.
Ricky Seals-Jones. And that wipes away a 57-yard touchdown.
Oh, man, number 86, Ricky Seals-Jones. Initially, I don't know. I thought he did a really nice job of getting the block. But you see how his hands are around the shoulder pads, and you can clearly see that he holds Tahir Whitehead, and that was a good call.
The penalty marks the football back to the 50-yard line. They do get 17 yards on the run.
The holding was at the 50-yard line. We're going back 10 yards to the 40. Replay, third down.
So now they'll move it back to the 40-yard line.
Oh, man.
As Jerome Boger sorts through.
So now you've given the Raiders not only extra time on the clock, but great field position. Look at how much field position because of these two penalties now that you've given the Raiders. So before you're looking at if you have to punt, trying to pin them back, but now they have something to work with.
Just changes the dynamic incredibly after those back-to-back penalties. Here's the rookie Edmonds, and he's going nowhere. Hurst, who's had a big game for the Raiders, with the tackle. 2-minute warning in Glendale as these folks sitting on their hands. 1-point game.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, reminding you not to drink and ride your horse. And by USAA, official NFL salute to service partner.
Well, some late game drama here in Glendale. A couple of backbreaking offensive penalties committed by the Cardinals. Personal foul against Jermaine Gresham, and then a holding call on Ricky Seals-Jones, negating a 57-yard touchdown run by David Johnson. So here's Andy Lee, and he's unable to duplicate that incredible punt from just a couple of minutes ago. And what a far different set of circumstances for John Gruden and his offense, as they will have it from the 20. 59 yards in the punt. Coming up next, 60 minutes, except those on the West Coast. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. On what began as a beautiful 72-degree day here in the desert. Which of these two teams can get one here in Week 11? Arizona just 2-7. Their worst start to a season in a dozen years, and Oakland trying to end a 5-game losing streak. Their lone victory coming in Week 3. Carr's first down pass is caught. That's the rookie Marcel Aitman, one of 2 rookies making his NFL debut today. A pickup of 9.
It's a good tackle on the sideline by Patrick Peterson to make sure that Yateman can't get to the sideline and keep that clock moving. Remember, the Cardinals, because of undisciplined play, have essentially gifted the Raiders about 2 minutes of clock.
See what the target line is, and Cook is stuck. Benet Ben-Wickery lighting him up.
Oh, man.
But it is a first down play, and how about Cook holding on to the football? Raiders are out of timeout, so Carr has to spike it here to stop the clock. What an incredible play by Cook.
Well, we don't really get to see this that often. Let's just take a listen. Oh, right in the gut and right in the strike zone. Beautiful job of Ben-Wickery reading the play. Cook coming to the flat and then making him pay. Love to see that from a defense.
Jalen Richard, the lone setback on 2nd and 10. Carr putting some air under it. Near side, it's caught. That's Aikman again. He beats the veteran Ben-Wickery for 32 at an Oakland first down.
Wow, tough play. This should be cover 2, which means there's 2 deep safeties. Ben-Wickery playing underneath, but there's no safety over the top, and Carr is able to drop it in there.
Aikman with his first 3 career catches in this quarter gives the Raiders a fresh set of downs with 60 seconds left. Carr's pass incomplete. Intended for Aikman, and Ben-Wickery had a jump as Raiders fans gasp.
Wow, just when you're wondering who's going to be able to step up and who's going to make a play here for this depleted Raiders offense, Derek Carr throws a beautiful pass downfield, and they're able to get their first huge chunk play of the game.
It would be a 55-yard field goal from right here. Carlson hit the longest of his rookie career earlier from 49. Carr will just slide forward close to about the 37-yard line, so that's right back to the line of scrimmage, and that clock is running. The Raiders out of timeouts, so have to be very, very careful right here.
You got to be careful, and you have to have a sense of urgency. I don't think now's the time to play conservative. You've got to get more yardage. You got to give yourself an easier field goal try, and you got to go 10 yards to try and pick up this first down. They've got to throw a ball that's close to the sticks or deeper.
Have to stay close to the sidelines. You can't spike it here and won't be able to stop the clock. Roberts. Well, now they have to hurry. No timeouts. 15 seconds.
They have time. They should have time to clock this. 18 seconds when the play was over. They should be able to get up, get on the ball, and spike this play.
So they scurry to the line of scrimmage. They'll spike it with the fresh set of downs. So Roberts with a first down catch to get them in a position where they can spike it and stop the clock. And now it all falls on the right leg of their rookie kicker, Daniel Carlson. The long snapper is Trent Sieg, and the holder is Johnny Townsend, their rookie punter. Carlson has hit from 49 today, a career long, and 21 yards. As this will be a 35-yard attempt to try to win one here in the desert.
Well, it's 3rd and 10, and perfect play call. Derek Carr sees the blitz, and now you only have 2 players with 2 blockers and a wide receiver. The Raiders have the numbers. Excellent play call and change at the line of scrimmage for Derek Carr to take advantage of the Cardinals defense and get it out there to pick up a huge play and make it so they have a much better field goal opportunity.
Carlson, the 23-year-old rookie out of Auburn, on a 35-yard attempt, and the Raiders have won it. And their 5-game losing streak is finally over.
Isn't that something? Boy, and you could chalk this up to the Cardinals just didn't know how to finish and close out this game. Terrible clock management by undisciplined play gives the Raiders the extra time that they need in the field position to march right down the field and kick the game-winning field goal.
Carlson, the third different kicker that Oakland has had to use this season. What a moment for the 23-year-old as he boots it from 35 yards out. And a team that hasn't had a lot to smile about this season can celebrate its second victory of the year.
Well, you got to credit the Raiders. You got to credit their offense for that game-winning drive. But, boy, the Cardinals let one get away because they couldn't finish and close out the game.
Game-winning drive, 9 plays, 63 yards in under 2 minutes. 23-21 your final. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by new episodes of God Friended Me, NCIS Los Angeles, and Madam Secretary. Now for Adam Archuleta, Spiro Ditas saying so long from Glendale. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 53.